Okay, now we see certain examples of physical change and then the examples of the chemical change. Okay, it's a very small chapter, so we'll just complete that thing. So examples of physical changes. We have already seen about the water and ice and then steam, so that is also one easiest example of physical change. So let's see one by one. First one, the change of matter, state of matter, that is melting, conversion of solid to liquid on heating, of course a physical change. Vaporization, conversion of liquid into vapor or gas, again a physical change. Condensation, change of vapor into liquid, again a physical change. And freezing, conversion of liquid into solid, is also a physical change. So we see that all the changes of matter, that is from ice to water to gas, that is, we can say here water vapor, and from there to again, okay, I'll take it this way, water vapor to water again, and then to ice again. So this we know, ice to water is melting, water to water vapor is vaporization, water vapor to water is condensation, and water to ice is freezing. So this all are basically examples of a physical change. So in physical change, ice turns to water by melting, and water turns to water vapor by vaporization. Water vapor then condenses to water by condensation, and water freezes to ice by freezing. So these are the first examples of physical change. Other example could be melting of wax. So if I take wax and I heat it, it is melting. Okay, हम लोग कैंडल जब भी जलाते हैं तो you see that certain amount of the wax is going to melt. So that is also melting. Okay, that is melting of wax. Before I complete this video, I'll also tell you that the burning of a candle is what kind of change. Okay, I'll just do that thing. The next is boiling of water, boiling of milk. Milk boil hota hai, so it is just boiling. So it is just boil, okay, वापस नीचे, so that is nothing but again a physical change. Rain cycle. What is the rain cycle? You know the rain cycle, geography में. So water evaporates, forms clouds. Clouds become heavy, condense, forms into rain or snow. That snow is going to melt and form into rivers, or just rainfall is going to form into rivers, flow everywhere, go into the sea again. Sea again starts evaporating, form the clouds. So that is the rain cycle. So that rain cycle is complete physical change. Okay, because there is no new substance form. It is not permanent. It is temporary. So no new substance form, and it is a physical change. Sublimation of camphor. Camphor is nothing but that kapoor. Okay, so camphor, if you take it, if you keep it for some time, or what will happen? It will form into fumes, and if that fumes would have, you could have taken a particular kind of a funnel on top of it with a cotton on it. Then वो funnel के ऊपर पूरा का पूरा वो जो camphor है, it will just stick to it in the form of a powder, and which you can again take it and form, which will sort into solid. So sublimation of camphor is again a thing. Drying of fruits. Okay, the fruits, when it is dried, it becomes dry, and then if you put it in water, again it will swell up. So that is again drying of fruits is a physical change. Ringing of electric bell. When electric bell rings, it is only temporary. There is a magnetism which is formed, which is going to hit the gong. जैसे हम लोग bell release करेंगे, magnetism चला जाएगा, and the gong is, and the hammer is back into its position. So magnet जब भी आएगा तो ठक करके वो टिंग करेगा, and then it releases, it comes here. So that's why how the electric bell rings. It's a temporary change. Why temporary change? Because electromagnets which is going to be formed, the magnet is not permanent. अगर परमानेंट होता तो गॉन्ग एक बार उधर चिपक जाता, टिंग करके चिपक जाता वो, उसके बाद वापस रिलीज ही नहीं होता. But as soon as you release the button, it is coming back to its original position. Why? Because the magnetism is broken. So it's a physical change. When you switch on the tube light, क्या है physical change? Switch off कर देंगे बंद हो जाता है. So it is a physical change. So these are examples of a physical change. Then they've got examples over here of some another examples. Addition of salt to water. So you know that if you take some water, you add some salt to it, stir it properly. Is it a physical change or chemical change? It's a physical change because no new substance is formed. What is formed is only salty water. Okay? Except from salt water, nothing is formed. There is no new substance formed. So उसका मतलब मैं रिवर्स कर सकते हैं? Yes, easily reversible. क्यों? सिर्फ पानी को थोड़ा हीट करने लगो, पूरा इवापोरेट कर दो पानी को, नीचे क्या रहेगा? Salt. Okay, salt was just there in the molecules of the water. It is not completely reacted with the water to form something. So if you evaporate the water, automatically salt is going to remain over there. Hence, it is a physical change. Heating of a platinum wire. So platinum wire it is just getting heated up. You are not actually converting platinum into platinum oxide because platinum जो है वो एक बहुत ही non-reactive kind of material है. It doesn't react too much. But because it doesn't react too much, that's why what is going to happen is when you heat it, it is just going to get hot. And when you cool it, it becomes cold. So it is just the platinum is hot and then cold. So there is no change in the properties of the platinum. Hence platinum wire, when it is heated, it is just going to get heated up, become hot, and then it comes back to its original form again. So that's why platinum wire, burning of a platinum wire, not heating but burning, heating of a platinum wire because it doesn't burn. So when it doesn't burn, it is just a physical change. So it's a physical change, heating of a platinum wire. Yeah, and what is the okay? They also given the what is the physical change brought about by the in case of salt and water, it was by dissolution, that dissolving part, that it is the change is being formed, and so that is why it was formed. Here in platinum wire, heat radiation, the heat which is given to the platinum wire by radiation is the one which is causing the change in the platinum wire. So platinum wire getting heated because of the heat radiation given to it. Finally is the magnetization of iron. So if you take a magnet and take an iron stick or iron एक nail ले लिया, तो what we'll find as we bring it near, the nail is going to stick to it. So what is the thing over here? That this nail, till the time it is in contact with the magnet, also acts as a magnet. It can bring on more nails to stick to it. Means temporarily that nail has become a magnet. So is the nail become a magnet permanently? No, it's a temporary thing. So it's a temporary change. So magnetism is going to be brought about on the nail, iron nail, for temporary time being, till the time it is in contact with the magnet. So that's why it is magnetization, which is going to attract the iron filings to the cling to the nails, and once you are going to even remove the magnet or you are going to just hammer the nail a bit, it is going to get demagnetized. So the magnetism which the nail has achieved by a magnet. See, normally you can even magnetize a nail. If you take a nail and take a magnet and then you run on it like 10-15 times, the nail becomes a temporary magnet. और उसके बाद अगर उसको nail को सिर्फ गिरा दिया है, उसके ऊपर थोड़ा हथौड़ा मार दिया, it just gets demagnetized. So that's why we see the iron filings do not cling to it once you hammered it. So that means the nail is no longer a magnet. Hence you see that the nail became a magnet temporarily. So that magnetism which took place on the nail was a physical change. Okay, so these were the different forms of physical changes. I said, as I said, this is the change of states, which are physical change. Melting of the wax, boiling of milk, rain cycle, sublimation of camphor, drying of fruits, ringing of the electric bell, salt and water mixing up, burning of a magnesium rod, and finally magnetizing our iron piece. These all are examples of a physical change. Okay. Now we move on to the examples of chemical change. So first and foremost is chemical change will take place when certain things are added to a particular matter. If we add certain things to a matter, then definitely some kind of a physical change is going to take place. First thing is addition of acids. So add acid. If I add acid to any of the compound, definitely there will be some other reaction taking place. So that's why some substance is going to be formed. So reaction taking place in addition of acid to substances. Second is fermentation. You know fermentation. What is fermentation? Best example of fermentation is making of dahi, curd from milk. Milk, you add certain bit of curd to it, and the curd starts multiplying and forms into a complete curd in the whole night by the night time. So you see that is fermentation. So fermentation is a process which is a chemical change. Second is dehydration. What is dehydration? If you remove the water from a particular thing, it is dehydrated. So when you dehydrate it, like for example carbohydrates, like glucose, it's a carbohydrate. So if you remove the water from it, what is going to remain is just carbon. So when glucose is heated, you get carbon dioxide. Okay, so that is one example. When dehydration, you remove the water from a particular substance, you get what is a dehydrated substance at the end. Respiration. Our respiration, it's not just breathing in and breathing out. The respiration, what we are taking in is we breathe in air, उसमें से oxygen हम लोग लेते हैं. वो oxygen is reacting with the glucose which is present in our blood, and it forms into carbon dioxide which is going to be released by us. So it's a big cycle. We learn it in the different chapters of bio in the next year maybe. So yeah, respiration is the one which is again a chemical change. Okay, respiration is a chemical change. And finally is burning a substance in air. When you burn a substance in air, you are going to have a chemical change. जैसे हम लोग ने magnesium का देखा. We saw that magnesium ribbon was burned. It gave you magnesium oxide. So whenever you do any of these processes, the chances are that you are going for a chemical change. You are adding an acid, fermentation is done to it, dehydration is done to it, respiration in our body, or burning are examples of chemical changes. Apart from those changes, other examples are carbon cycle. Now what is a carbon cycle? Carbon cycle, you can see it is there in our day-to-day life, wherein we are continuously producing carbon dioxide, and in the other way around, that carbon dioxide which we are producing is getting converted into oxygen by the plants. So it is the plant which is going to take in the carbon dioxide from the air, do photosynthesis and give her oxygen. The oxygen is taken in by the humans and or even the plants for respiration, and all the other people or all the other living organisms for respiration, even for burning things. And whenever you do that thing, burn that thing or do respiration, you are going to produce carbon dioxide, which again the plants is going to take, form into oxygen and give it to us. So accordingly, this particular process of oxygen to carbon dioxide to oxygen is called as carbon cycle. So here, every time a new substance is formed, because oxygen is form of carbon dioxide, so it is completely different. The carbon dioxide again is completely different, or oxygen is completely different. They are two different identities, two different substances. So new substance is going to be formed. Similarly, oxygen forming into carbon dioxide, again new substance is formed. So that's why it's a chemical change. Ripening of fruits, very simple. You have a mango in your house. It was green, then turned into orange, and it was very pulpy and very tasty, right? Can you make it green again? No, you can't. Okay, you cannot make it back. Its ripening is a process which is permanent. You cannot come back to its original form. So chemical change. Ripening of fruits, chemical change. Changes in electrochemical cells. What are electrochemical cells? Electrochemical cells are a kind of a battery. Battery के अंदर क्या होता है? There is positive, negative. Like you take a battery over here, तो battery में क्या होगा? The whatever are the content of that particular battery is going to go towards the anode and cathode, that is the positive and negative side. जैसे ही वो चीज खत्म हो जाएगी, the battery is useless, you need to throw it or you need to recharge it. So that change, what has taken place inside the battery, is a permanent change. You can do it, you can recharge it. So that recharging is a different process. So that's why the process in which the electrochemical cells are working is a chemical change. Curdling of milk, I told you about fermentation. Curdling of milk is an example of fermentation. So milk form into curd. Can you make curd back into milk? No, it is not possible. So it is a permanent change, new substance form, because the properties of milk and properties of curd are different, completely different. That's why it's a permanent change, that is chemical change. Butter turning rancid. Many times the butter, if it is not used for a long time, it is going to get khatta. Okay, it is going to become slightly bad. So that turning of the butter rancid is the example of, because you cannot then convert it back into a good form. So butter turning rancid is again a chemical change. Rotting of eggs. Eggs become rotten. So of course it is a chemical change, because whatever process which has taken place over there cannot be reversed. It is something which is already done. So you cannot do anything about it, and hence rotting of egg is a chemical change. We take some more examples of the chemical changes. One sec. Right. So we have over here, first is the addition. So first one over here, addition of acid. So you have taken some iron over here, and you have taken a test tube. So you took a test tube. Test tube can, suppose there is a test tube. You have taken some amount of acid in it, and then you are sprinkling some iron powder into it. So when you put some iron powder into it, that iron with sulfuric acid will do some reaction over there, and it is going to form into iron sulfide. Okay, so iron sulfate is going to iron sulfate is going to be formed because sulfuric acid. So iron sulfate is going to be formed, and hydrogen gas is going to be evolved. So what has happened? Iron and sulfuric acid has now turned into iron sulfate, is a soluble content, and hydrogen gas is given out. So this is a kind of a chemical change which is taking place. So the final product of iron and sulfuric acid becomes iron sulfate and hydrogen. So you can see completely new substances are formed, and they will be of a properties completely different from its origin properties. Origin property mein iron sulfide, they were given some color shades over here which was yellow in color. The sulfuric acid was yellow in color. जिसके अंदर हम लोग ने iron डाला, which was almost blackish in color, and then उसके बाद में when it turned, you find that the whole solution become greenish because of the presence of iron sulfate. The iron sulfate which is formed over there makes the solution greenish. The next is burning of sulfur powder. So if sulfur is burned in air, so you take some sulfur, burn it. So when you're burning it, of course air will be present over there. So air के अंदर क्या है? Oxygen है. So oxygen reacts with the sulfur, and it is going to form into sulfur dioxide. So it is going to be sulfur plus oxygen giving you fumes. That fumes will be nothing but sulfur dioxide. So sulfur dioxide gas is the end product. So the final product is sulfur plus air or sulfur plus oxygen giving you sulfur dioxide. So that is the burning of sulfur. The last one is rusting of iron. You must have seen the iron nails, वगैरह iron का कोई भी part रहेगा. You keep it for some time and you are not using it. What happens to it? It starts rusting. उसके ऊपर पूरा वो reddish powder लगने लगता है. जंग लग गया जिसको हम लोग बोलते हैं. So that is nothing but the rusting. So what is the rusting? It is nothing but the reaction of iron with oxygen present in the air. So iron, when it reacts with the oxygen in the air in the presence of moisture, it gives rise to iron oxide. So this iron oxide is nothing but the rust. And this iron oxide cannot be converted into iron, and that is the reason we do not support the rusting to take place. What do? That's when, so that the rusting does not take place, we normally what we are going to do is paint the surface or coat the surface with something जिसके कारण rusting नहीं हो. So prevent rusting, we coat the surface. So that is again a kind of prevention method. But anyway, when you are talking about the chemical change, iron with oxygen in the air gives you iron oxide forming of the rust. So iron plus oxygen give you iron oxide, and iron oxide is nothing but the rust which is going to be formed over here. So that was the different chemical changes which are taking place over here, and so they are given certain examples over here, the examples which are there in the activity and demonstration part. So we see the examples as boiling of water, physical changes में boiling of water, dissolving sugar in the water, crumpling of paper, mixing sand and water, cutting of wood, melting of chocolate, freezing water to ice, melting of butter. These are the changes which are going to take place, which is physical change. Souring of milk, heat on zinc carbonate, heating of iron with sulfur, tarnishing of jewelry. What is tarnishing of jewelry? It's basically silver jewelry. If you see, after a certain time it will become blackish. Okay, it becomes blackish. That is nothing but tarnishing of the jewelry. Normally it takes place only in silver, much more. Gold, it is there, but it is very less, so it is not so visible. That's the reason normally the people get the gold and the silver thing polished after a certain period, so that its gloss is maintained. Digestion of food, frying an egg, explosion of a firecracker, lighting a matchstick, all these are examples of a chemical change. So you are given the demonstration of a physical change is inflated balloon burst when brought near a lighted bulb, since the air molecules in the bulb gets heated up and expand, thereby bursting a balloon. So this is some examples which are given for the physical and chemical change. Yes, I remember very well. I told you that I'll also explain you what happens when there is a burning of a candle. So burning of a candle, what kind of change it is. See, when you burn a candle, there are two things what is happening. That's why it is both physical as well as chemical. Burning of candle is partly physical and partly chemical. See, when you see a candle, you will see the candle is going to be this way. It is going to be having something like this, and then there will be one flame which is going to be here. Now, when this flame is going to be burned, at that time two things happen. One thing is, some amount of wax is going to start melting, and you are going to have some like a droplets coming out over here from all sides, on the sides of the, and then you will be also having some melted wax over here. So this melting of the wax which is taking place is a physical change. Okay, so here it is a physical change. Now you can see, it is not that if I am able to take all the wax which is melted, I will see that it is not going to give me the same candle back. Okay, it is not going to happen that I take a candle, put it in a particular glass jar, and then I put it back. So I'll find that it is again giving me the same amount of candle, same amount of wax which was there in this candle. No, a certain amount of wax from the candle is going to get burnt off. So when it is going to get burnt off, what is going to happen is the burning part is going to give this particular flame. So this flame, so this is going to be that wax is going to give me certain amount of carbon dioxide and certain amount of moisture. So certain part of the wax is going to get converted into carbon dioxide and moisture. That means there is a chemical change. Because that part of the candle which has burnt off, that part of the wax which has burnt off, that has converted into a new form. So that's why melting, physical, formation of carbon dioxide and all by burning of the wax is a chemical process. Hence, burning a candle is a physical change as well as a chemical change. Okay, you can just keep a note of that. Otherwise, it's a very easy chapter. You can go through the exercises and let me know if you have any doubts in understanding any of the any part of the topic, or getting the answers for any of the questions which are there behind. Okay, so that was about the second chapter, physical and chemical changes.